baby.
What is up? We are back.
Back. One of us is back and tanner than ever.
Yeah. Well, maybe red in some areas, but
are you like you're still burnt? Like it hasn't like faded back into like a
yeah.
tan
So the burning happened on Tuesday, and
okay.
it's now Monday. There's starting to be a little bit of peeling, but like turns out that even when there's UV or even when there's like total cloud cover, if you're in the southern hemisphere in the South Pacific, those UV rays will come right through that overcast cloud cover and burn the shit out of you.
So I feel like this is a weird thing that maybe I need to give my 21-year-old daughter credit for me knowing, because like I knew that even living here in Ohio, cloudy skies, if not anything, usually equals greater UV intensification because it magnifies through. It's like when you told me that, I kind of chuckled in my head. I was like, well, shit, I live in Ohio and I knew that. But it's because my daughter, when she lived at home, was like, oh shit, UV's 9. I'm like, golly, like she was out tanning.
I have heard that before, and like mentally, you just block it out, right? Like you're sitting outside, it's super cloudy, you can't even feel any sun, and it's like there's no way.
There's no way.
But
no way. The sun demon wouldn't do that to me through clouds. No
science
way.
is science, though.
Science is going to science.
But yeah, so we had a week off, and because I was on vacation, but we're back now and we got a lot to go over.
A lot.
And I hope you're doing well, Johnny. I saw that you had a good run recently.
I mean, good is relative. So I will say this. It's funny because I actually put this on the Strava account. Like, it's like, all right, it's just, is this my new responsible pace where I'm slowly getting back into stuff? Or is this like legit just now the pace I ran? But like, well, yesterday, because it's now Monday, yesterday, I got another nice little slow, like 5 1/3 mile in, just really nice and really easy. And like never really felt like I was pushing the knee. Here's where I'm at though. And Dr. Carroll may or may not hear this. He'll like yell at me because he's told me this like a bajillion times. But here's what kind of stinks, and here's where I'm like I keep getting alarmed. Is like on the run, it's nothing, right? On the run, it's like really minimal, like either minimal pain or no pain on the run. It is post run later that day or the next day when I'm trying to go up the stairs and that thing will grab and it is like a bolt of pain. I mean, bolt. And so that's what really has me the most nervous. And
that's frustrating.
I really think it's just that tore up cartilage in there, man. And like, it is what it is. And it's like, if you look at your patella, it's the medial. It's like the 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? If you're looking at the face now, it's like the one from inside the knee looking outward. It's like the 1 o'clock right behind the patella. Oof. Like right where the quad kind of meets at the top.
Oh man.
I'll go to push up a step and that thing. So anyways, I'm weirdly staying optimistic about it. Like, all right, like let's just keep slowly dialing up the miles.
Yeah.
Keep slowly building that knee back up.
Yep.
And like hopefully the cartilage, this is a stupid ass thought, but hopefully the cartilage will wear off enough that the little torn off fibers will quit grabbing. Because I think that's what really hurts the most.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at. That's the game I'm playing with myself right now. Of like, and I just double checked when you and I jumped on to do pre-notes. I was looking to see when Perpetua sign up is. It's March 10th. So I have like 7 days to shit or get off the pot. For this knee to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see what happens. So.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's tough. It's a juggling act.
It's a 50K. It's a 50K. Surely I can
power hike. You have a fast walk.
Yeah, surely I could just fucking lean in that bitch and power hike it like I'm walking the dogs or some shit like that. So they have a half marathon, but I don't feel like I'd really appreciate that. So I feel like if I could just like power hike, or I don't know.
Yeah.
We got so much to go over. We don't have time for me to sit here and snivel.
We got race season heating up here.
Yeah.
We got elites are coming out of the woodwork and
Yeah.
the races, early season, lower mileage races, and dominating. We got an FKT from the land down under.
Yeah.
Funny, we were just watching that video from that song, like, the land down under.
Oh yeah. Oh no, who was that?
I can't remember. Oh, Men at Work.
Men at Work. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Men at Work. Yep.
Yep. A friend of the pod recently hit a milestone. We're going to talk about that. And another crazy extreme race sees its first finisher. So it's another one of these crazy winter races. An ultra running legend passed away recently. We'll talk about that. And our 3Ts, we're gonna talk directions. We're gonna talk about recording our activities.
Yeah.
Specifically GPS and navigation, and what we like and what we don't like.
Yeah.
And how we do it. So getting into race results, we'll start with Transgrancanaria, since this is 2 weekends ago. Okay. Transgrancanaria was the big main event. This is an early season race. It's 78 miles, 22,310 feet of climbing. And this race always brings out crazy talent.
Yeah.
And this year was no exception. I think Courtney DeWalter actually won Transgrancanaria last year. This takes place on the Gran Canaria island in Spain as part of the Canary Islands. And this year we had a U.S. For the men's U.S. man, Caleb Olson. He's a younger ultra runner, but he's really been coming on the scene pretty hardcore lately, putting up some great times, and he scored the win at Transgrancanaria, and he was leading most of the race, and at the 80K mark he pulled away, and he finished in 12 hours and 17 minutes for the win. And John Albin, another elite ultra runner from the UK, was second in 12:25, so just 8 minutes behind. And then the guy that led early, Josh Wade from the UK, came in third in 12:40. And for the
John Albin is no slack either. So the fact that Olsen was able to hold him off is like I because when I saw this race, it immediately, in a weird kind of way, it made me think about last year's, not 2025 but 2024's Black Canyon, in a weird way, in the fact that young dudes were nipping at Hayden Hawk's heels, or you know what I mean, or kind of, and Hayden just, or not nipping at his heels, but Hayden just kind of played it cool, and then ended up that was a real possibility in this race. But dude, Olsen, man, that's a great win for him.
Yeah, it was, and he's one to look out for this year for sure. And then for the women, Henrietta Albin from Norway took the win. It was a breakthrough win for her too. She dominated over an hour faster than second place. She finished in 15:02. Claudia Tremps from Spain was second, 16:09, and Martina Klachnik-Potrick from Slovenia was third in 16:11. So just 2 minutes behind second place.
Now, I know she's from Norway and John is from the UK, but are they married?
That's a really good question. Let's see. John
John and Henrietta Albin.
Wife Henrietta Albin, they are married.
Yeah. I think she obviously still just races for the homeland, right? Which is dope. I love when people live in other countries but still race for the homeland. Yeah. So respect the shit out of that. That's pretty, dude. Could you imagine? That is a power ass couple right there.
That's a power couple for sure.
That is are
kind of like Well, it's kind of like Rachel Drake and Tyler Green, Killian Jornet, and I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, I have no clue. Yeah, because she's a badass too. It's like every time I think about couples like that, I think about like rolling up to your like local turkey trot and just fucking wrecking it.
And the family podiums.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Killian Jornet's wife is Emily Forsberg.
Oh, Forsberg. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another power couple. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find Olsen. I was looking up Caleb Olsen and Ultra Sign Up. Maybe I'm spelling it wrong, but yeah, Caleb Olsen. Nah, can't. Oh, Olson. Okay, that's what I was doing. I wanted to see what he's got going on. Oh yeah, he is in Western States this year.
Yeah, dude, that could be. He's SON, not SEN. Yeah, dude, and like,
and he's in Gorge Waterfalls.
Dude, I was just going to say, yeah, like, dude, like that is he recovers from this, right? Which, when you're at that level of runner, you're going to recover from that race, right? And then April, you got Gorge.
Yep.
And that's in April. So then you got.
Then June is Western States.
So. Then June, yeah. So like you're going to run. He's going to run Gorge, 100K, and he's probably going to run that. He's probably going to run that thing hard.
Yeah.
Because he wants to see where he's at from Western.
He's far enough out from Western States that
like he'll burn that down. And so I would not. I'm going to make the prediction right now. He wins Gorge.
That's very, very possible. And also, he got 5th at Western States last year, and he ran a 14:40. So if he's improved from that 14:40, he's going to make a run at podium at Western States as long as he stays healthy. But he's young and he's got room for improvement. So it should be fun to see.
What is he? He's 29. He's still sub 30 for right now.
Yep.
Dude, it's going to be a fun year for him, man. It's going to be a fun year to watch him.
Yep. I agree. It should be fun. The next race we were going to talk about is Moab's Red Hot Ultra. The 50 miler this year. This is in Moab, Utah.
Yeah.
Obviously. They had sunny skies. Tyler Vermeen edged out Kyle Curtin. Kyle Curtin, though, he's elite. He holds the FKT on the Colorado Trail. He's won Tahoe 200. He's a very strong runner. Lives in Durango, so he trains out there in the San Juans. Kyle Curtin nearly ran down Tyler Vermeen. But Verman won and held off Kyle by 4 seconds. So they both finished the Moab Red Hot 50 in 7 hours and 49 minutes. And they were just separated by 4 seconds. So that would have been cool to see that finish.
It would have been super cool. I wonder if we could go track down Moab Red Hot's Ultra or Instagram. But maybe they got a finish of that. That'd be a cool finish to see.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the 50 mile in the women's race, Ashley Ferguson from Canada took first in 10 hours and 56 minutes. And they have a 55K as well. And this distance is usually pretty competitive. But we got John Ray dominating in 3 hours and 57 minutes. So sub 4 in the 55K at Moab. And then Emily Evans won for the women in 5 hours and 21 minutes. Orcas Island was this weekend. And this race is put on by Rain Shadow Running, a really cool race company in the Pacific Northwest. A lot of races in Washington, the state of Washington. They're just a really cool group of people. And Orcas Island, this is a crazy time of year for a 100-miler out there because they get shitty weather like rain or snow or it can be anything out there. And this year there was 52 people that finished the 100 out there, and out of the top 5, second, third, fourth, and fifth place were all women. So that's awesome. Lon Freeman did win the race for the men and overall in 22:42. Katie Lacko won for the women in 23:11. So pretty cool race out at
that race is one of those races that is just it just feels so insanely difficult. I don't know. There's something about being out on that island and being isolated out there that you're like, oh, this is a whole nother level. That would be a amazingly hard race.
There's a fair amount of climbing in that race. There's even like this. I believe it's a fire lookout or there's some sort of tower or something that I think it's optional, but you can like climb up to the top and down every lap if you want, and it's like, I don't know. There's something going on with that, but I read about it in that Eat Clean, Run Dirty publication. It seems like a really crazy race. Let's see how much climbing at Orcas Island 100. Looks like 26,000 feet.
Yeah, dude, it's a motherfucker.
4 25-mile loops. Significant climbing on Mount Constitution. So yeah,
425. 425 is doable. That's basically what Mo is. Like, I feel like that's enough that you're not like, I don't know. 4 is doable. I feel like 6 loops is where I'm like, I can't look at this loop one more time.
4 6 is too much.
Yeah,
I agree. Logistically, 4 is nice. Mentally, you can break it down pretty nicely as well in that manner. Also, the Hagg Lake 50K that was, they got snow / iced out.
Yeah.
The weekend before they pushed it off a weekend, and it finally did happen 2 weekends ago. That's in Forest Grove, Oregon. It's the Hagg Lake Mud Run, so usually it's muddy.
Even on dry years, they talk about.
That's right. Mike Rosling got first in 4 hours and 24 minutes, and Julia Sorti won for the women in 4 hours and 36 minutes. Montara Mountain 50K in Pacifica, California was this weekend, and I wanted to give a shout out to this race because Pacifica is just south of San Francisco. It was like maybe like a 15-20 minute drive for me when I lived there, and it was just a really great place to run. There, Mount Montara has pretty significant climbing, and the trails are cool when they're maintained. There are a lot of mountain bikers out there, but but if you go early enough, you can avoid them, and you get great views of the ocean if it's not foggy. It's just a really cool place to run out there. But Adam Wolf won in 4 hours and 53 minutes, and Beverly Anderson Abs won for the women in 5 hours and 1 minute. And I think that race has like pretty significant climbing. Montara Mountain 50K. Yeah, it has 6,700 feet of climbing, so a decent amount. Also, like if you go up the Pacifica side, up Mount Montara, and then you can go down the backside into this park, San Pedro Park, which is has some pretty nice single track trails.
Yeah.
with moderate climbing in there, and there's a water stop there too, so kind of cool. All right, Sean O'Brien. Actually, I'm glad Sean O'Brien took place. The reason is because of all the fires out there in the Malibu Hills. I think it was supposed to happen in late January, but I'm guessing it got pushed off to now. I'm really glad that they were able to have the race. So I ran Sean O'Brien in 2020 before the world shut down. That's a tough race, that 100K, like making those cutoffs. The trails are not technical. There's some technical. You have to cross a raging river at the beginning. And when you're in like that big glut of people, it's like difficult. There's some very, very tough climbing. The trails are pretty nice, but the cutoffs are tough. And I missed the mile 44 cutoff by just a few minutes for the 100K. So I had to drop down to the 50 mile. Now, but the race did happen. I have my Sean O'Brien shirt on.
SOB.
That's right. I would like to go back to that race and get revenge at some point, because I had a really bad day. Like, I know I can do the 100K, but I don't know. I bonked pretty hard for some reason. Yeah. Ryan Hewitt won the 100K for the men in 10 hours and 32 minutes. And Lauren Mitchell won for 11 hours and 18 minutes for the women. Now, that 100K has, like, I think 13,500 feet of climbing, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a 16-hour cutoff. So it's no cupcake.
No, that's way more challenging than a lot of 100Ks. That's getting after it. You gotta be a good climber to survive that.
Yeah, including like at mile 44, there's like over a 2,000 foot descent, like a 2,500 foot descent, and then you have to climb back up. So that's like 5 miles down and 5 miles back up, or maybe even more, like 6 miles down and 6 miles back up.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm not thinking of Sean O'Brien. I'm thinking of, I was thinking of Crest. I was thinking, because Sean O'Brien.
Crest?
Yeah, Sean O'Brien's not a point to point, is it?
No, it's like a loop. I mean, it's really like a lollipop, but the lollipop stick is very short. It's kind of like a big loop with another section, an out and back section added.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Crest. That's like a point to point in your
Cascade Crest.
Yeah, and you're bombing downhill.
A big loop, but there is a long, nice downhill at Cascade Crest.
I thought that was a point to point. You start off on the mountains. You drop down.
Because of fires, there's been some changes of that course. So it was like an out and back, and then a point to point at one time. Originally it's a big loop though, but there is a really nice long downhill section at one point in that race.
Yeah, I wonder what. Tall trees, tough trails.
The 50 miler was won by elite runner Jesse Haynes in 7 hours and 22 minutes. And Holly Ryerson won for the women in 9 hours and 41 minutes. And then there was a 50K as well this year. Taylor Morris won in 4 hours and 38, and Aaron Knight won for the women in 5:23. Moving on to Lake Ouachita Trail, Vista Trail. This is in Mount Ida, Arkansas. That's right. And we had an interesting winner for the men there, and overall, Bronco Billy, Jeff Browning, takes the win.
That is crazy. That dude is everywhere, man.
Yeah, you got that right. It's like that was his 31st 100-mile win. So he's definitely cementing his legacy. No doubt will be in the Ultra Running Hall of Fame at some point. But he also set the course record by over 90 minutes and finished in 17 hours and 57 minutes. This is, not very well-known race, I would say, but he's trying to chase Carl Meltzer's record of 100-mile wins, which, let's see, how many 100?
Could you imagine being
wins?
an RD for this race? Can you imagine being an RD for some of these smaller? And then you're like, Jeff Browning, like, why does that name ring a bell? Like, no way is that the Jeff Browning. Like, there he is. Like, shows up with those glasses he wears. You know what I mean? You're like,
right. Well, I think Jeff Browning is actually from Arkansas. I'm thinking.
Because he runs a lot of races in that area. I feel like he's ran he ran this. I feel like he just ran something in like Alabama not too long ago. Like he does run a fair amount of stuff out in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, and
while you're looking up Metzger's record, Angel's Crest 100 is the race I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
That is point to point. That is a constant downhill. So, like, it was driving me nuts. I kept Googling shit until I came across it.
So, I think he has 55. Carl Meltzer has 5,500-mile wins. So, Browning is, like, really far behind that.
Yeah.
31 to 55. So, I don't know if it's possible to catch him unless he starts just doing a whole bunch of, like, little unknown 100-milers in the next couple of years. But anyway.
I mean, he's 20. Let's just say he's 20 back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to win. I mean, you have to win 3 small ones a year. You know what I mean? Like,
and he's in his 50s.
Yeah, and so like, all right, so like he could get there before he turned 60, but he'd have to win multiple a year.
Actually, he might not be in his 50s yet. No, he's 53.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
Yeah, he's
53. That's getting tough, man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's getting tough. That's like,
needless to say.
Yeah, you're getting old enough though that you can you fuck around and show up at the wrong small local 100-miler, and like there's some fucking you mess around and show up at Mo, right? And some Amish dude's going running into the fucking ground. You're like, where'd this cat come from? You know what I mean? Like it's just insane. It's so weird.
That's pretty funny. And then Ashley Nordell won for the women in 20 hours and 15 minutes. And she also set a course record there by over 90 minutes. So both the male and female winner both set course records in the Lake Ouachita Trail Vista 100-mile. Mount Cheaha. I don't know. I'm butchering that name. Cheaha, I think it is called. Mount Cheaha.
It's probably just Chi.
This is in Delta, Alabama. Okay. This is Alabama's highest point. And this is a pretty long-running 50K. It's been going on for 20 years. 230 people finished, so it's also a very popular 50K.
Yeah.
Kyle Kraft won in 4 hours and 34. And for the women, Anna Waters won in 5 hours and 43. And the last race from 2 weekends ago that we're going to talk about is Salmon Falls 50K, and that's in Pilot Hill, California. And I actually don't know where Pilot Hills, California is, and I was going to look it up, and I didn't get a chance. So I'm going to look it up right now.
While you do that, I'll go back and talk a little bit about that race in Alabama. The other thing that's kind of cool about that race in Alabama is, like you said, it's the highest point, and it's still only 2,400 feet in elevation. So it's like, I mean, like you get us out at the highest point, it's 24. But that race is also put on by the same folks that put on like Pinhoti and that kind of stuff.
Oh, top notch.
So so that's got some like that race. That's got some really good. Like those are good directors. Like
that's a very established.
They know what they're doing out there.
Yeah,
down there.
Yeah, for sure. Pilot Hill is actually just south of Auburn, south and a little bit east of Auburn. So Harry, Heraldus Subvertus, 200-mile specialist.
Yeah.
He won the pilot or the Salmon Falls 50K in 3 hours and 39 minutes. And Emily Hogged, elite runner from Zimbabwe, but lives in the U.S. She lives out there, I think, near Auburn somewhere. She won for the women in 4 hours and 8 minutes. So pretty stellar times there. All right, let's get into this most recent weekend. And pretty cool. We're going to start at the Way Too Cool 50K. Okay, this is in Cool, California, which is out by Auburn. This is a very popular 50K, very popular early season 50K, and it always has just tons of speedy runners show up to this race. It's kind of like a lot of elites will show up just to test out their early season legs, and this is a long-standing 50K. It's been going on this is a 35th year for it.
Golly days.
258 runners finished this year, and for the women, Jennifer Schmidt won and finished 7th overall in 3 hours and 53 minutes. So she went sub 4. Emily Clark was 3 hours and 54 minutes. So just 1 minute separated first place and second place women. Emily Clark was 9th overall. And Kareth Arnold was 4 hours and 9 minutes for the podium for the women. So like between the 7th overall and first place female, 3 hours and 53 minutes and 43 seconds. And the second place female, 3 hours, 54 minutes and 43 seconds. So 1 minute exactly. But they were 7th and 9th overall. That means that somebody finished within that minute between them. But anyways, Kareth Arnold, like I said, 3rd. And then for the men, the young gun, Hans Troyer from Georgia.
There he is, yeah.
You know, he got the flu the day before Black Canyon, so he couldn't run Black Canyon. But he didn't want to let that fitness go to waste. So, and he runs for Ultra now. So, so
he's got to keep them checks coming in.
That's right. So that's right. So Hans showed up at Way Too Cool 50K and he dominated. He won in 3 hours and 19 minutes. Like, holy shit, just smoked it. And I looked up the course record there because I'm like, that's got to be close to a course record. But Max King has the course record, and I think it was like 3 hours and 8 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe somewhere around there. But I think that course, it has changed. There's like an old course and the current course. So I'm not really sure how that all works out. But anyway, Hans, impressive win. This sets up the stage for him now at the Canyons 100K. He's gunning for that Western States golden ticket.
Yeah.
He wanted to get at Black Canyon, but he got the flu. So Canyons 100K, he is in April. So in like a month and a half, he'll be racing for that golden ticket, and it'll be very exciting to see what he does at Canyons. Hopefully, knock on wood, he can stay healthy and toe the line.
That's your ride or die. That's your ride or die. You're a Hans super fan.
He's gonna break out, man. He's gonna break out. Like, this is his. If it's not this year, it's gonna be next year, man. Because he has got speed, like mad speed. But can he handle the hills? That's what we're gonna find out.
Time will tell.
Finian Jacobson Schulte came in second, 3 hours and 26 minutes. Tommy Sullivan, third, 3 hours and 28 minutes. And this is how fast this race is, okay? The top 14 men all ran under 4 hours.
God damn, dude. That is crazy.
Yep.
That's so fast.
Sure is. All right. We had the Mississippi Trail 50, which is the name of the race, but they also have a bunch of other distances. And this is in the DeSoto National Forest in Laurel, Mississippi. And they have Mississippi's only 100-mile trail race. Okay.
Yep.
And course records fell for both the men and the women. Jackson Wolf won in 17 hours and 24 minutes. Bethany Madsen won for the women and finished second overall in 1908. The 50 miler, the course record also fell for the men. Josh Moore won in 5 hours and 50 minutes. And this guy, Josh Moore, now holds the course record in the Mississippi 20K, 50K, and 50 miler. So this is his race. He's got to go for the 100 miler next year.
Yeah. I think the 100 miler is a boatload of loops. Because I'm looking at their course map, and it's like the 50 miler is like 3 loops of the orange on top of like 2 loops of the blue. You know what I mean? So if you're doing that many loops just for the 50 miler.
Yeah. There looks like there's 12.5-mile loops. So
yeah.
Oh wait, and then they have a 6.1-mile loop. So you do 3 12.5-mile loops and then a 6.1-mile loop for the 50 miler. So imagine the 100 miler is that times 2, so like 6 12.5-mile loops and 2.
Oh wait, I just found 100 mile info. 100 mile info. It's 7 big loops and then 2 small loops. A big loop, by the way, is 12.6.
Okay. Yeah, so that's very loopy.
That's a lot of loopies.
Yeah.
That's way more loops than what you and I talked about was tolerable. Like that is.
Yeah. Agreed. Although when I tell you later what my potential plan is for this year, you might laugh. Greta Conlon was first for the women in the 50 miler in 9 hours and 31 minutes, and the 50K, Lisa Guaswaldo won for the women, 5 hours and 54, and Ethan Lott for the men, 4 hours and 8. Also, Monument Valley 50K was over this weekend. This is in Monument Valley, Utah, a very cool place if you haven't been there. Bunch of like stone structures that look like monuments, and it's pretty cool. 83 runners finished. Charles Assey won overall, 5 hours and 4 minutes, and Karen Krob won for the women in 5 hours and 51. And the last race that wanted to talk about, just because it has a cool name, is the Naked Bavarian 40 miler.
How could we not talk about this one?
And this race takes place in Leesport, Pennsylvania. I didn't really see any of the background.
Dude, this website, this race organization. I mean, this is a very German part of PA, no doubt about it. They have Naked Bavarian. They have Naked Prussian. They have Dirty German. They have half sour, half kraut. They have Porterfield. They have Dirty Austrian, Naked Nick, Philly Trail Mare. Like, this is just like, this place is leaning so hard into the Bavarian culture that was brought to them, however long ago.
Yeah. And this race takes place at Blue Marsh Lake, and John Dragon won overall and first for the men. Cool name, by the way. 5 hours and 11 minutes, and Kaylee Herring won for the women in 6 hours and 7 minutes at the Naked Bavarian 40 mile.
Where is Leesport, PA? Ringing a bell.
It is. I mean, I know Leesport, Virginia.
Yeah. Leesport, PA.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So Leesport is, I wonder if it's out by where they have the Eastern States.
It doesn't look, man. It's way eastern.
It's northeast of Hershey.
Yeah, it's like it's
It's
way
north of Reading,
yeah.
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Reading, Pennsylvania, north of
It's,
Lancaster. It's out
yeah,
by Harrisburg.
it's between Hershey and Allentown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out there, you can go to Hershey and ride. The first roller coaster I ever rode was at Hershey Amusement Park.
I've never been there.
It's called the Super Duper Looper. Shit you not.
Super, dude. I didn't have any reason to ride roller coasters anywhere else than we lived like an hour and a half or hour and 45 from Cedar Point.
I know. My dumbass went all the way to Hershey, PA. The Super Duper Looper was the first roller coaster I rode.
Although we did go to Kings Island one time. That's the other race that we're going to talk about later in the year is that the coast to coaster or whatever.
Yeah, coast to coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure there'll be some improvements made on that race, but that's from Cedar Point to Kings Island. And Johnny and I had the idea that you got to ride the roller coaster.
You got to ride the roller coaster, dude.
You got to ride the tallest one in each park for it to count.
It's got to be how the race starts and finishes.
I agree.
It just makes sense.
All right, let's go to the land down under. I really want to play that song right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the Hume and Hovell walking track. Okay, this is a route that if you go to the Hume and Hovell website, it tells you about this route, and it goes over alpine streams, past geological wonders, rolling farmlands. It is on all different surfaces. So you see like all like the Australian chiropteral forests of eucalyptus, wattles, and bankseas, up steep climbs to sweeping views of the valleys below, boardwalks with rich swamplands, or along clear streams of snowmelt tumbling from the mountains beyond. I did read somewhere about, so there's boardwalks, single track, fire trails, and quiet backcountry roads. Follow this historic route of the two explorers after which it's named. That's Hume and Hovell. Now, this is 426.5 kilometers, which, dang it, I looked it up and I didn't put in the notes, but I think it's 293 miles. But
what the 200? What was it? 246 kilometers?
No, it was 426 kilometers. So 426 kilometers.
137 miles.
264 miles.
What? No, you do 3.1, right?
No.
Wait, no, 3.1 is 5K.
426 kilometers is 264.7 miles. And there is an FKT route established on this Hovell and Hume and Hovell walking track. And Julie Brock just set the female supported FKT on this route, and she did it in 4 days and 16 hours, and that beat the previous supported female FKT by Tanya Cahill at 8 days and 12 hours. So almost 4 days.
Like half the time. Fucking half the time almost.
Yeah. The male supported FKT in this route is 3 days and 18 hours. And there's also a supported group FKT of 4 days and 21 hours. So she has the second fastest time overall out of all the different types of FKTs.
She was getting it.
She was. And crazy thing about it is if you read her story, here's some of the pictures she took. If you read her story, these trails were a mess. So she was talking about bushwhacking. She was talking about blackberry vines that grab you, like trees being down, and a camber, trails on a camber, so they're like kind of on a slope. It just sounded like some of these trails were a mess.
Have you looked her up? Have you looked into who she is and what she's about?
No, I haven't. She holds a lot of FKTs.
Julie holds some FKTs. Julie's a bad motherfucker. Like,
yes, she is.
Like, she is out there snatching souls on the FKTs. Like, holy shit.
She's crushing it in the land down under, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, like, she is just dominating. And a lot of them are unsupported, too.
Yeah.
Like, she is just like...
What's the Brisbane Water Bush Bash?
Like, it's just crazy. Yeah.
She is really, really definitely laid down a lot of FKTs.
Yeah. She is. She is not one to mess with.
Yep. Pretty cool. Also, on the topic of FKTs, just wanted to go over this really quick, that most FKT routes follow certain rules that you have to, submit your activity, you have to have proof that you did it and all that. Well, there's a few routes that are designated as premier routes, and these routes have certain criteria. And there's not many premier routes, but the premier routes they have their own special guidelines. And some of the criteria for being a premier route is history of competition. So lots of elite runners out doing a route, outstanding natural beauty, clean, logical route, no unreasonable natural or bureaucratic obstacles to completion, and no exceptional difficulties in comparison. And approval. For example, the Pacific Crest Trail, which was removed from the list due to annual wildfire closures and reroutes. Okay, dude, so
some of the ones that I'm looking at the U.S. right now, like there's some MFers on there, boy.
Yeah, these are all very famous routes and very tough. But really quickly, the guidelines for the premier routes are that you have to read the FKT verification and FKT guidelines page to be familiar. You have to announce your attempt in advance to the FKT team, so they have to know you're out attempting the FKT. And then they used to require a live tracking device, but as of 2024, they don't require. It's optional now, but it's highly recommended. For multi-day routes, they're still happy to post their live tracking if the person posts their live tracking link to the Tracking Now section of their homepage. But let's get into some of these premier routes in the United States. Rim to rim to rim, very, very famous, fun route. Arizona Trail, that's the whole state of Arizona, north to south.
Yep.
Appalachian Trail, which we know goes to Georgia to Maine. SCAR in Tennessee and North Carolina. The Presidential Traverse in New Hampshire, those are some tough mountains. Long Trail in Vermont, very tough. John Kelly had the FKT on that for a minute, but that actually got set. We just talked about that, I think, a couple months ago. Colorado Trail, Nolan's 14, which is crazy hard. John Muir Trail and the Wonderland Trail in Washington, which is a circumnavigation of Mount Rainier. I'm
surprised that one's still hanging on, actually. Well, they probably don't get the wildfires up there.
Well, yeah, Mount Rainier is still good. Wonderland Trail. Europe, the Pennine Way, which John Kelly, I believe, has or had the FKT on that. Bob Graham Round, which was set by the Krenzel, Bob or Rob Kretzel, the dude that snagged it from Killian.
Yeah.
There's some route in Sweden, the Via Alpina, 8 alpine countries, Mount Blanc, and the GR20 in Italy, and the Camino de Santiago in Spain, which is like a religious pilgrimage route. That looks Jessica really wants to do that. There's a movie based on that, the Way or something with
it's
Emilio Estevez and his dad, Martin Sheen. And then other places, Mount Fuji, Namche Bazaar to Everest Base Camp in Nepal, Te Aurora, which we just talked about. I ran into some people from New Zealand, a lot of people from New Zealand when I was in Fiji, and I asked them if they knew of this route, and like one of them knew and the other didn't. And Kilimanjaro, and some other, the Inca Trail in Peru. So it's pretty cool stuff. Anyway,
it's kind of interesting because like the last criteria is really kind of debatable. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but no exceptional difficulties in comparison in approval. Right, it's like the PCT was taken off because of the wildfires, and like explosions and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of surprised that when you look at some of the ones of the rest of the world, you're like, come on, the PCT has that much difficulty compared to some of these other ones, like the New Zealand one. I mean, you're literally having to take a kayak across it sometimes. Like,
right. I'm sure it's subjective, and I don't know.
It's subjective, yeah.
I don't know when that was taken off. If it
must have been recent.
I mean, maybe it'll be back on after this year.
Yeah.
I don't know like how much of the trail's been destroyed from fires, but
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's move on to news. Friend of the pod, Charlotte Cormier. I probably messed up her last name. Costume chick, who've been one of our original listeners.
Yeah.
And, way back. We appreciate her always being a friend of the pod. And she does a different costume for every like marathon or greater distance race, or maybe every race she does, period. And she hand makes them. She's a really cool, nice person. And she just finished her 300th race of marathon distance or longer. She's done quite a few ultras, and looks like the Wilmington Marathon was number 300. And I think a bunch of people dressed up like pirates at this one. So she's celebration time for her completing number 300. And we're going to have Charlotte on the podcast. We need to reach out to her.
Yeah.
Maybe next week or the week after, get her on to give us the rundown on her story and these races and these costumes. So big congrats.
That is a hell of an accomplishment, man. That is a lot of running. That's a lot of racing.
And a lot of carrying props.
Yeah. Week in and week out. Like that's a relentless, like never stops kind of effort.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me like 13 or 14 years to get up to like 40 some ultras, right? Like 13 years to have 40 some ultras. So quite an accomplishment for Charlotte. Also in the news, so there's another crazy winter race, all right? That the people that put on the spine race in England,
mm-hmm.
they decided to put on an Arctic spine race in like northern Sweden, and the first running of the Arctic Spine race was last year, 2023, and they did not have any finishers. So this is the second year of the Arctic Spine race, and this is in, like I said, it's in Sweden on the Kungsleden Trail from Abisko to the town of Hemavan, and it pushes runners to their limits. Temperatures can plummet to minus 40 Celsius, minus 40 Celsius to Fahrenheit.
It's still negative degrees, I think.
It's the same, minus 40.
Yeah.
So minus 40 degrees and frigid winds reaching 65 kilometers per hour. So imagine, like 30, 40 mile an hour winds when it's minus 40 degrees. And you have to carry your supplies on a sled, a 30 kilogram sled, navigating ice, snow, and unpredictable conditions. You really have to be a masochist for this.
Dude, it's insane.
And so they saw the first finisher this year. Leif Abrahamsen etched his way into icy history, according to the Canadian Trail Running magazine article. First athlete to complete this Arctic Spine race. It's 472 kilometers, which that one is 293 miles. I got it mixed up with the FKT route. So 293 miles, and he completed the course in 200 hours and 14 minutes. That's 8.5 days. And he was not the only one that finished, but he was solo. He was like so much out in front that he was solo from the second day on. Like, just look at that picture, like that barren, like
it doesn't. I know. It's just like I don't understand. I don't understand. How do you, if you're in first place, how the hell do you know where the trail is?
That's a damn good question. It looks like it's marked with these poles.
Yeah,
I imagine you have to have some navigation tools.
Something, right? Like, you've got to be able to shoot like I mean, those poles can't be that close together where you can see them, I wouldn't think.
No.
Or maybe they are. I don't know. Like, that
he says it's more. He says it's just as much about survival as it is about finishing. It's he described the experience as beautiful, fantastic, more like an expedition than a race. Unforgettable moments running along a high mountain ridge under a full moon with the northern lights lighting the way.
Oh, dude, it'd be amazing.
Yeah. So he was the first finisher, but like I said, he wasn't the only finisher. Joe Bars and Ulf Nori crossed the line together in second place in 208 hours and 19 minutes. Far behind John Shield and Kira Pava, completing in just over 9 days. So kind of cool.
Jeez.
Last thing we want to talk about is in memorandum of Charlie Ramsay, 81 years old, from the Scottish running community. He recently passed away. He was an excellent mountain runner, best known for creating the Ramsay round, which is, there's like the Bob Graham round in England. That was in like the earlier 1900s. But in 1978, he completed the Charlie Ramsay circuit, which is now known as the Ramsay Round, in 23 hours and 58 minutes. So there's a 24-hour limit to complete the Ramsay Round. And it's the final climb is up Ben Nevis, which is the highest mountain in the UK. And when Jessica and I were in Scotland 2 years ago for a wedding, we attempted to summit Ben Nevis, but we were facing gale force winds and rain, and we didn't quite make it up to the summit. it was a little borderline dangerous. But anyway, that's the final summit of the round. And when you're doing the counterclockwise direction, and then you descend 1,400 meters in 3.5 miles. That's what we were climbing up.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So pretty famous guy. And he inspired also, so far, 272 other people have emulated Charlie's time under 24 hours on the Ramsay round, and since 1978. And also, it inspired Paddy Buckley to create the famous route in Wales, the Paddy Buckley round, a few years later. So together, the Bob Graham round, Ramsay round, and Paddy Buckley round are the big three rounds, making a great challenge. And the Ramsay round is, you summit a bunch of peaks. The amount of climbing is insane. I can't remember.
For the Ramsay round?
Oh, yeah. It's I thought it said it in this I Run Far article. Oh yeah, here it is. 56 miles with 28,500 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's a lot of miles, or that's a lot of elevation crammed into 56 miles.
That is insanely steep climbs, right? So 28,500 divided by 56, you're looking at 509 feet per mile.
I mean,
that's way more than Hard Rock. Like
it is over double the amount of elevation climb than what Muck has. And like people are like, oh, Muck has that is a shit ton of climbing, man.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
And it's Scotland. It's Scotland, so it's not like you're like, oh, I'm gonna take it easy and bomb this downhill. You will eat shit.
That's right. That's right. There's some technical.
Rocky. Yeah.
Technical. Yep. No doubt. So yes, great guy from the running community, passed away. All right. Let's dive into the triple T's, the 3 T's today, which let me see if
tips, tricks, and thoughts.
All right. Tips, tricks, and thoughts. Our topic today is GPS watches or activity trackers and other types of navigation for navigating courses or trails. So basically, I guess what we're looking for is what do you and I use? What have we used in the past? What do we use now? What do we like about it? What don't we like about it? And what do for watches? And then what do we use if we're like going to a new area, new trails? What apps? What types of files do we use to navigate those trails? You can go first.
Oh man. So so way back in the day, I started off with the Garmin Forerunner, right?
Do you remember which model? Was it the 205?
The 405, I believe.
Okay.
The 4. Like I think I went big boy. I went like right to the 4.
Okay.
And what's funny though is like that thing couldn't get you through a 100-miler. You know what I mean? It
couldn't get you through a 50-mile.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I had the Garmin, and then after the Garmin, I jumped to Suunto. And I honestly loved the Suunto. Like I loved that watch. Yeah, okay. I really liked it a lot. And it would come so close to getting you through a 100-miler. It comes so fucking close. And I think
that's pretty good for back then.
Yeah, and I think that's actually what pissed me off the most about it. It was the fact that you got so fucking close. But now I feel like I'm just like everybody else. It's funny, like I feel like almost everybody runs with it. I run the Chorus now.
The Vertex?
No, the just base, like the Apex, maybe it's called. Hold on, let me pull up my app real fast. I can actually tell you what it is.
Okay.
But I run it, and it's the, I don't know, the 42 or the 46 inch, the Apex 46. I run an Apex 46 millimeter.
Okay.
And I mean, I've had it for a while now. Like I've had it for quite a while. But that thing is dead on ass accurate. Like that thing is so accurate, and you don't have to do anything special to it. Like that thing straight out of the box can get you a 100-miler and have tons of juice left over. I mean, like ridiculous. Like I remember running Rim to River and having, like, I shit you not, like 30% of battery still left. Like it was just ridiculous. So like the Apex, like I absolutely love my my Apex 46 millimeter. It's everything I need to watch. Like it's still more. It's still way more than I need to watch. Like I would.
So you think the battery life is what, like 50 hours? Would you say
easily 50
for
hours.
in GPS mode? I'm talking
in GPS, yeah. And like that's in the standard. And that's in the standard. Like you can go to like their like super GPS tracker thing about like their super battery, and I think it'll get like something like 100 hours or some crazy shit.
but it pings like
so
it pings
long.
Like it screws the distance up. You don't want to do
really
that.
really bad. Yeah,
I tried that once in 100 with my Garmin, and it overcalculated so bad.
I tried it on I feel like I tried it on my Suunto, like one of my last ditch efforts to make it try to last. And it was funny because even at Mo, right, with the switchbacks, like it turned a run into like 17 miles. I'm like, you know how well we know Mo. I'm like, nope, that's 27.3. You know what I mean? Like, you know that fucker down to the, and it turned into like a 17. It just showed me going straight up, mountains.
It didn't calculate the switchbacks.
Yeah. And so, anyways, Chorus is what I run for my and like I love it. It's like I said, it's just the Apex 46, nothing special. I would pay a ridiculous amount of money if someone was just like, here's a trail running watch. That's all it is. There's like so when you go, like, because on the Apex you go, you scroll like running, trail running, hiking. Like I would pay insane amount of money just like run, and that is it. You know what I mean? And like just have that thing's batteries forever.
Now with your Coros, is it a smartwatch too? Like, can you get alerts from your phone on your watch? And
maybe.
Okay, you don't.
I think you can. Can
you store music or MP3s, like or podcasts?
On the Chorus, you cannot. On the Chorus, on the Apex. On the Apex, you cannot. It is just like it's a pretty stripped down running watch, which is which is all I really care to have. You know what I mean? It is kind of funny because I did see. It is funny because I have seen like going back to Sunto, like you can get like headphones now that connects to your watch. I'm like, holy shit! Like that's a whole nother. I tried not to run with headphones on. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I tried to just run with my watch and like that's it. But like I love that watch. It's funny because like I saw the other part of this was like types of navigation. Like my dumbass, my types of navigation is I look at the trailhead sign and I'm like, okay, I need to make this many right hand turns and a left, and then and like that's my like I will literally use the park sign.
Okay.
And then try to memorize like the number of turns I need to make. But also like this will sound very old man energy-ish. I like the nostalgia of using the blazes.
Yeah.
I like the nostalgia of like I'm following the blue blazes until I get to this, and then I need to pick up the double yellows. Yeah. All right, I'm going to follow the double yellows. As soon as I see the red, I need to make a left onto the reds. You know, the what was it? Last spring, we were down in Asheville, and we took the family on a hike up Mount Mitchell, and like we brought this route back down and around. And like, I'm like, we're not taking a map. Like this thing's blazed to death. I'm like, where they walk this blaze until we see this blaze, and then we know we take a left on that blaze. And then we know we do that down to this road, and when we hit this road, we know we take a right. And so I really enjoy following the blazes. So I will admit I am not the right one to ask about navigation tools because it is a watch, and it is like keeping track of how many miles I've gone and knowing I need to turn right or left or like following blazes. So that's me. But like, massive shout out. If someone needs a watch to get through 100-miler and they want like a bare bone stripped down, but great, dead on ass accurate, the Chorus 46 millimeter Apex is phenomenal.
So do you have anything else to add?
No, I'm a basic ass old man on that kind of stuff.
So
what are you running nowadays, by the way? You're probably running some really cool shit.
I'll get to it. I want to, before these thoughts elude my mind, I want to touch on your Coros. So
are you getting ready to tell me I can't put music on it? I've just never known I could.
Oh no, I don't know that. You may be able to put courses on your watch though.
I think you can. But what fun is that? Fuck it. Go get lost.
All right. So I will say this: like a couple years ago, I had heard the Coros CEO on a podcast.
Yes.
And he is super smart, like a tech guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, we don't have like the established technology like Garmin does, but we have new technology and better technology, and our watches are like, it's like they're cutting edge basically.
Yeah.
And Coros was the first one to have the extended battery life. Like there's been times where before I had a watch with long battery life and GPS mode that I would bring like a portable charger with me in my vest, and I would charge my watch like during a race. Like one race, I had to charge it twice during Bear, I think. But anyway, the Coros Vertix 2S I just heard about. That thing has, what was it? Let's see, battery life, 118 hours in GPS mode.
That's crazy.
73 hours in all systems on mode, which means like super satellite, like every step is going to be like perfect, So that 118 hours is the, okay.
Okay, while you're looking it up, it's funny that you said that. So I went and I looked at the watch, and it showed a back picture of it. Let me tell you this. Listen, if every person who's listening doesn't hear another word out of my mouth except for this, let me tell you the best thing about the Coros watch. Hands down, bar none, I will fight somebody over this. The best thing about the Coros watch is how it charges. I used to effing hate the alligator clip. Oh
yeah.
Oh my god.
Terrible.
You'd have to have it on there perfect, and then it get corroded because of your sweat, and it wouldn't pick up, and it partially charge. The fact that Coros just has a little plug you take out, like a little rubber thing, and you plug it in, and it's just a traditional plug-in. It's not some shitty ass little clamp or like thing you have to. Oh, dude, I love the way it charges, and it charges fast as shit too.
Yeah, that's some of the good things about the Coros. And it was 118 hours, which is 9 less than the Vertix 2 in standard GPS mode, and 73 hours with all systems on, which is like insane. But so you could finish a 200 miler with the Vertix 2S. But that's been a great thing about the technology of Coros is their battery life, their accuracy.
Yeah.
But just like Garmin, sometimes you get a Garmin that is off on something. Like it might be off on like climbing, or it might be off on mileage, like over calculating or under calculating. I've heard people with a Coros that was off on climbing. It doesn't Pete Griggs run with a Coros?
Yeah,
I thought his was over calculating on climbing or something, but
yeah,
mostly they're dead nuts accurate.
His guy. So they did push an update. This might be what you're talking about. They did push an update, and Coros like, hey, it's your watch. Your watch is a paperweight, and I think they actually did pretty okay by him. I think they actually gave him I think they shipped him out like a new. Like I think he got a voucher for a new watch or something like that.
Nice.
But I think, and like I could be.
So they made it right.
They made it right.
Dude, that's great.
The only person I know of in our clique that doesn't run with a Coros at this point is fucking Ronnie's old ass. Ronnie
he runs in a Timex.
No, he runs in it's like a fucking shark watch or some shit. It's like some sort of diving watch.
Oh, yeah. Pulsar?
No. He's past that. This is legitimately a watch, and like the dumbest fucking thing about this watch is you can set it to 2 time zones. So he's like, well, yeah, like I don't know my pace, but I can tell you the time right now in Istanbul. You're like, what the fuck? Like it's like, but you can pick and choose like these weird, like the watch here. It's like it's just a dumb. It is a piece of shit. It is not even a Timex.
I gotta see this thing.
Oh, dude, it is ridiculous. But he's the only one I know of that does not run a Coros anymore. And then I don't what.
I started off in the Garmin 205, which was a dinosaur. It was gigantic.
Yeah.
And then I went to the 310 XT, which was like their waterproof watch with a little better battery life. I think it got like 16 hours in GPS mode or something, or 16 to 18 hours. And then I set it on Jessica's car one time when I was taking a break running in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And she when I was going to the bathroom, like she took off. She didn't know. I didn't tell her it was up there.
Yeah.
So it broke. So I got another 310 XT. And then years after that, I wanted better battery life. So I ended up getting the Phoenix 5X. And that still did not have enough battery life for me to finish a 100 miler. So I ended up going to, I'm currently in the Garmin Phoenix. These are all Garmins, by the way, that I'm talking about. I'm in the Garmin Phoenix 7X Pro Solar. So it has like maybe 52 hours in GPS mode. Still not as good as Coros, but enough for me to get a 48-hour race in. I wore it throughout all of Fat Dog without charging. So I love this watch. It's way more accurate than my other Garmin. My other Garmin overcalculated. Actually, both of them did. It's like smartphone capabilities or whatever. I get alerts on my watch when I get like texts or calls or anything like that. I can store music podcasts, which I can sync up to my, we'll talk about headphones some other time. I know maybe you don't run with headphones, but during the week, I listen to podcasts and music when I run, not on the weekend long runs, but during the week. So I can sync my Treks or my Aftershocks bone conducting technology. I can sync those Wi-Fi to my watch, and I can listen to podcasts while I run. So I really like that one. So that's where I'm at now. I'm definitely Coros curious.
what's funny is I'm on right now looking at stuff. I'm like, oh shit, but yeah, there's definitely some stuff on the Chorus Apex, which, like I said, is what I have. That like I didn't even know my watch could do. So it is kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
And then for other types of navigation, so I've been living out in California for like 6.5 years now. So I've explored a lot of new trails, a lot of new places, and the trail systems out here are kind of extensive, and some are not marked very well. So whenever I'm doing a new route or designing a route, I always design it in using Strava, because if you pay for the subscription to Strava, you can design courses in Strava, and you can export that course if you're using the computer into a GPX file, and the GPX file then I can send to my phone and put on my Gaia app. In my Gaia app, it's a navigation app, so you don't need to be connected to any cell towers or anything. You can be in airplane mode and use Gaia and use this GPX file, and it'll tell you exactly where you're at and if you're on trail or not. And it's really easy to use on the phone. I can also put the course on my watch and follow along that way, but it's not as easy to like zoom in and out and see the other trails. And it's just kind of a hassle. So I'm usually carrying my phone with me for emergencies. So if I have any questions about a new route that I'm doing, I always have a GPX file with me that I load into Gaia, GAIA, and it's awesome. It's a great app for navigation if you're ever doing a route for the first time. Also, if you're doing a race, most races now will put their course in a GPX file that you can download from the race website. So, it's worth doing that, because if course markings get eaten by cows or somebody goes and somebody that's not involved with the race goes and like steals flags or rearranges them, or if you have any question at all about a shady intersection but it's not marked, then it can come in handy. I liked having it just for a safety net, because I went off course once in Burning River, and I just it's the worst feeling. So I always like to have the route with me. I use my watch, or I use the Gaia with the GPX file. Also, All Trails is a good app for finding new trails, and also you can download routes that other people have created, and you can have those, and you can, if you download them to your phone, you can use it just like Gaia. You don't need to be connected to the cell towers in order to figure out where you are. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I want to say when I did Tahoe, we had to have Gaia downloaded on our phones. Like, we had to have Gaia on our phones, and then we had to have it downloaded on there. And it is kind of funny what you're saying, because like this is long enough ago that even on our phones, then I distinctly remember, like early in the race, I'm talking like 10 miles into the race, we left an aid station, we made a left, and then you came to this Y. And I remember like a boatload of runners just standing there like, what the fuck? Trying to zoom in and trying to figure it out. And like there's people coming back a trail, coming back this trail. We're like, dude, there's runners coming back both trails. And like I remember people were like zooming and like, and then like you realize the trails just did this. You know what I mean? Like it was the weirdest thing.
So it came back together?
Yeah. It was just a weird.
So it didn't matter?
It literally didn't matter. And so people were like, fuck it. It just went. And like, sure enough, like everyone just met back up again at the end. It was like the weirdest effing thing. It was so weird. It was like it went around like a maybe like a little body of water, or like a wet area or something like that.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember just standing there super confused. I'm like, dude, this is mile 10 of a 200 miler.
Yeah, like what's the rest of this course
And you're already just like, oh, we done fucked up, you know?
And that was in
like,
the earlier days of Tahoe 200 too.
Yeah, I think I ran it. Did I run it the second year of its existence or third year of its existence?
Yeah,
somewhere around in there. Yeah, it was still pretty early. Yeah.
Cool.
But there it is.
All right. Well, if you're still listening, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. And give us a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, tell your friends. Leave us a comment on social media, rate the show on the podcast app, anything. Just interact somehow. Let us know you're listening. Let us know if there's anything in particular you want us to talk about on the 3 T's or just in general, or if you have a race that you really like that you want us to talk about, we would be glad to do that. So, all right. Do you have anything else, Johnny?
I got nothing. Have a great one, everybody.
All right. Peace out.
See ya.